podcast about what it really takes to make things happen. Great to have you here. Such a pleasure. I've been watching what you've been doing, and I'm so happy to include you in especially this first season of the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So welcome.
Thanks.
I think you have a small idea of why you're here and why we've chosen you and your story, but we're so inspired by people who've kind of taken an idea and really pushed it to where it needs to be, to the audience, got the content piece right, got the kind of tech piece right, understood what they're doing. And we feel that you've come in, taken this whole piece of the market and just owned it in such a beautiful way that we really wanted to talk to you about that today.
Thank you. And I appreciate the wonderful comments about that. But there's a lot of learning in all of that you said. All I'm thinking is, oh, did we do that? Oh my gosh, the mistakes we made. Oh my gosh, the things that we didn't do right and all of that stuff.
So I think, what I really want to know is, where did the inspiration for the whole concept, one marketplace, two drink dry, and just the whole thing, how did that come to fruition?
I think there's three things for me as well. The category itself, and that it was not existent here in the Middle East. So, I've worked in the drinks industry prior to starting Drink Dries for a short period of time.
Okay,
my actual background is history and politics, so nothing to do with FMCG. And then through my husband's company, worked in drinks industry for a short period of time. And in around 2015, I decided to change my lifestyle. So, eat better, drink less alcohol.
Okay, what happened there? There's something there. No one just changes their lifestyle. What happened?
My husband and I were together probably for around 4 years by then, and we were trying to have a family. Oh. And we'd done a load of different tests, and we kind of opened every box and looked under everything.
Yeah.
And we couldn't find any reasons why. And somebody really wise said to me, just look at your lifestyle a little bit closer, because we are all so quick to fix things in like a really aggressive, dramatic way. I need to go on hormones. I need to do this. I need to do that. But actually, so much of it is just sleeping more, walking, exercising more, eating better, cutting out the things that are just not good for your body, including coffee and cigarettes and, alcohol. Well, there you go. And that's what led me to just trial it out. So I think it was towards the back end of the 2015.
Yeah.
I thought, I'm just going to give it a rest. I'm just going to stop drinking alcohol. I will exercise more. I will eat better. And I'll just be a lot more conscious of myself.
Yeah.
And I think I didn't try to rope my husband into it as well, but I think he was inspired after a few months when he saw how great I felt.
Yeah.
I had so much energy. I just felt really clear-headed. I couldn't see any downsides to it.
Yeah.
And so he kind of joined me in the same kind of lifestyle change.
You didn't miss it.
I did not. And I'll tell you why. Because I think 2015 was the very beginning of the category opening up and growing in the UK.
Yeah.
So we were the first guinea pigs of the likes of Seedlip, the first generation sort of non-alcoholic spirit. The really small-time breweries were popping up that were producing exclusively non-alcoholic. And you could tell with every batch that the liquid was getting better and better. And it was really encouraging and exciting.
Yeah.
And we continued to having a really great social life. We were always known for hosting great dinner parties and just having people over. And
hello.
That's you.
I'm ready.
And I think the only part of it I felt before I made that decision that I will probably feel like I'll miss out from my social life. But I didn't, because all these things were available for me to buy. And, so many times, particularly if it's my home that people are coming to and I have a drink in my hand, nobody's asked me what I'm drinking. They just assume I'm drinking something, right?
Yeah.
And then my husband joined me in the kind of giving up alcohol. And then 6 months later, my best friend said, well, this is really good. I'm going to join you in. And then we found ourselves probably 2 years in, where people coming to our house and they were literally asking us, like, what are we trying this time? Like,
That's
what's
amazing.
out? What's next? We became like this hub where people were coming in to experiment what was new in the alcohol-free world. So I felt like I was naturally gathering up this information. I didn't know I'll be using it at any point in life. I just was naturally gathering it and looking into it. And there was a lot of bad stuff out there, a lot of bad stuff,
sure.
you know, a lot of the stuff we brought down the sink.
No.
And then, so I think 4 or 5 years later after that, we made a permanent move to the UAE, to Dubai. And it just hit me like a ton of bricks, where I remember I went to supermarket on day one, week one, and I was walking up and down the aisles looking for these products, you know, and I was like, well, where are they? Would they be in confectionery maybe? Because they're a bit weird here. They put it in different places. And I just couldn't believe that there was nothing available here. And I think I kept moaning and moaning and moaning to my husband. And every time we had friends or family coming from the UK, I would send them links to the non-alcoholic drinks I wanted them to bring me, which was the irony in that. And I was like, you sure you don't want me to bring you a really nice bottle of champagne because it's so much cheaper here? I'm like, no. I want my non-alcoholic stuff. And that was the beginning of it. That's where it was from the knowledge and experience that I had over the years accumulated on the category, my personal experience as a consumer, and the fact that I was frustrated when we moved here. I just was annoyed that nobody was thinking about me as a consumer. Nobody was facilitating my needs. You know, you can buy anything and anywhere in Dubai. You want an inflatable at 3 o'clock in the morning, bam, 10 minutes later, there's a doorbell, right? Ringing. You want anything at any time, it's here. And I felt just frustrated that.
So you are user number one.
Yeah.
I mean, you are the first person, number one, guinea pig one in the community. But you must have been unwittingly getting so much intel from those dinner parties. You know, I've had a similar experience where I've been drinking non-alcoholic drinks and serving my friends alcoholic drinks. And funnily enough, you are very much a part of the flow. You know, I have 4 kids. I've done 4 pregnancies. And, you know, that's a time that you kind of stop drinking. And during those moments, this is quite some time ago. So I'd always felt a little out of, but more recently, when I have had the glass of wine and I feel like I'm part of the vibe, funnily enough, you're very much in the flow of things. And I think there's something interesting to do with psychology and rhythm, and also that physical attribute of, you know, being in the behavioral zone.
I think we're tribal. You know, we come from tribes. There's a huge sense of belonging. Look at the success that different Facebook community groups are having in the region. I've never seen that in the UK. But here, you know, there's a huge Germans in Dubai group, British mums in Dubai, or vegans in Dubai, because we all come here as expats. We're far away from our roots. We all newbies here, and we're trying to find our tribe, right? So the same goes for alcohol-free or anything other that is alternative, you know. You want to belong. You don't want to be the odd one out. You want to be part of whatever is going on around you. And I think when you say we gathered a lot of intel through that's absolutely right. And it was great to get people's reaction, because I feel like I have this knowledge that's so seeped deep into me, what people expect, what they don't like. You know, if I try a new product, I have this almost like dictionary happening in my head, and I think of my friend Chloe, who tried this the first time, and her reaction because there was too much clove in it, or and you can just relate to these moments that happened to you in the past and think, I remember too many people said XYZ about a similar taste profile. It's like having 100 focus groups in my head.
That's amazing. So are you the sole person who's doing the buying, the testing? Really?
So I started it. The last few, probably 6 months or so, it became a bit more collective within the business, because when we started Drink Dry, it was all entirely me. It was just a one-man show. I was doing content creation very, very limitedly on my iPhone. I was doing the buying. I was doing the buying. I was doing the pitching. I was doing absolutely everything. And then kind of we slowly grew the team. But we ended our first year of trading, only 3 of us. January this year, we started the year as 3 people in the team, and we are now 14. So we've seen
That's
huge
amazing.
growth. And I would be mad now if I didn't include these people in the tasting, the selection of products, because I'll give you an example. We have a fantastic product, but simply the size of the bottle doesn't work. So it's a 500 ml non-alcoholic beer bottle. It doesn't work in the hotels, restaurants.
Yeah.
So if I'm looking to bring in something, I always check with my salespeople, how would the market react to that? It isn't anymore about the liquid itself. There's so many different pieces to the puzzle that I have this expertise from people that I can draw on and say, well, if they say to me, this really wouldn't work in a particular sales channel that we operate in, and it's a growing one for us, well, I'd be mad to bring it in against their advice. So we're trying to grow it, but whenever we're doing tastings, and I always remind the team, we're not sommeliers, we're not, connoisseurs, we are trying it as consumers. The only criteria we have, would I want to drink another glass? Would I order a second one in the restaurant? That's the only criteria we have. If it makes you feel, didn't like it, don't want it, then that's a straight away no. But if you think, actually, I really enjoyed that, and if I was in a restaurant, in the right environment, would I be ordering another one? Yes, I would. And that kind of is the phase one. And then you look at different aspects, pricing, packaging, strength of brand, et cetera, when you make that decision.
And branding in the whole industry of drinks in general has become so, it's such a huge industry today. There's so many brands available. When you feel like you're playing in terms of a business proposition, do you see your competition across the full spectrum? As a place to go and buy drinks, who are you looking at as a competitor?
We don't actually. We don't have competition as such, because our conversion rate is incredibly high for a marketplace, because people who come to us, our biggest challenge is to bring traffic to the website.
Sure.
Once we've done that, we know that people are going to convert, because somebody's already looking at products with the intention of exploring, buying, trying. And we don't really have competition as such, But if you look at the drinks branding, the alcoholic and the kind of the big time soft drink players like Coca-Cola's, Fever-Trees, and anybody else, they operate in a space, in the league of their own. And the beauty with non-alcoholic drinks, when the category started to grow, so many businesses were founder-led businesses that there was probably a lack of experience and expertise sometimes, but boy, did they make up with just sheer passion and dedication and hours they were putting into it.
Amazing.
And that was the fun part, So we have got a few really strong worldwide brands in our portfolio that carry a big weight. But I really, really enjoy working with smaller, niche, non-alc brands, because they're new. They're not tied down to any regulations and rules that maybe alcoholic brands are. They can just do what they want. They can be what they want. They're speaking to Gen Z. They're speaking to youngsters out there.
Super nice.
It's an entirely different era for drinks industry, I think.
Yeah, totally. I want to talk about this word marketplace.
Yes.
Because I'm feeling, for me, a marketplace is anyone can kind of put anything there. But what you're telling me is more of a curated experience.
Yes.
So why are you using the term marketplace?
So the reason we use the word marketplace is firstly, we are a brand in its own right. So Drink Dry is a brand. And there's a clear difference between brand and marketplace. And we try to join the two together. When people are looking for brand experience, right, they go to a single product website, they're exploring the brand, they're getting the experience, they're getting the feel. It's a place of discovery for them. They won't necessarily purchase from the brand's website because of practical elements, right? So firstly, when the consumer comes on our marketplace, we want them to feel like they're visiting a brand's website, where they can explore, they can get to know the brands, and they watch the videos and get inspirations. But then we want to be a marketplace because they can compare a number of products on there, they can compare the prices, We do fast and efficient delivery. You order before 1 p.m., we deliver the same day. So we set ourselves in the world of e-commerce. We set our standards against what big marketplaces do. You go on Amazon not because you love their website or the graphics of it or anything like that. You go there for convenience and efficiency. You go there because you're looking for plastic champagne flutes and you want to see, okay, these are, this is the shape, this is the price, this is the delivery. You can see all of it and you can read the descriptions of all of them.
And the comparison.
That is what helps you make that purchase. That's where conversion element comes in. So that's why we say we're a marketplace, and probably 70% of the products on our marketplace are directly imported by us. So we find these brands, we nurture them, we buy them from the producer directly, we bring them into the market, we sell them into hotels and restaurants and retailers.
So you're carrying that stock?
We do.
Okay,
we do. So we have a huge warehouse with a lot of stock because we do retail, hospitality as well as e-commerce. But the reason from beginning, and when we started, it was 100% drink dry products on the marketplace. But the reason we also wanted to be a marketplace because we wanted to be open and inviting to other people who were coming in to explore the category. So in the last probably 2 years, I think we added over 30 different brands that don't belong to us, where a local distributor who imports cheese and milk and bread now is importing this fantastic sparkling wine. And we think, we salute you. Come and join us on our marketplace. We buy from you and we'll resell it to our end consumer.
Amazing.
Because we want the consumer to come to us and to feel like they're having a full 360 vision of what's available in the market in the UAE.
I mean, you've definitely achieved that, because the experience of going to the website is very much that. You feel you've dived into this world, you're getting best in class advice and products popping up, and you are there front and center being fab, but it's you feel that there is a lot of care has been put behind the curation of this product.
But that didn't land well in the beginning.
Yeah, see, this is what I want to talk
about.
It
didn't. No, it didn't.
As amazing as everything is. What? So tell me.
So when we first launched our marketplace, and 100% of the products curated by us was on there, and the non-alcoholic drinks that were in the market prior to Drink Dry, that have been in the market for 20 odd years, that nobody actually wants to drink. They're super cheap, super sugary. The distributors of those brands naturally approached us and said, well, hey, you're a marketplace. We want to list our XYZ on your marketplace. And we said, we hear you and it's great, but no thanks, because it's a carefully curated marketplace. And our customers' trust in us is number one priority for me.
Yeah.
And I've now learned, every time we launch a new product, whether it's in the wine or beer or spirit category, and we let our consumers know, the first purchase always is the uptake is incredible. And then people, some people prefer that one to what they used to drink, or some people say, actually, I'm going to go and stick to my usual beverage that I used to drink. But the trust from the consumers in Drink Dry is incredible, because they know that every single product that we're going to launch is going to be as good as the other things that they bought. But it did not land well with the old wolves in the market who just thought they have this divine right to be on our marketplace because, the brand's been here 20 years.
But it's the word. It's the marketplace word.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's why they would be like, why can't we be here?
Yeah.
Well, then be a website, be an online shop, a boutique, whatever. But look, honestly, you've done something incredible in a short period of time. You're scaling, you're growing. But this, of course, has been a huge challenge for you.
Yes.
I know that without even asking entrepreneur to entrepreneur. I would love to know from you, like right in the beginning, when you were kind of having this cool idea, what were the times where you thought, oh, gosh, maybe this is a really bad idea, or this might not work? Take us back there. How did it feel?
I haven't gone back there for a very long time.
No, don't make me go back.
When we look back from a business perspective, and when I look back at 2021, and particularly the core team that I have now in the office, like all the newbies have joined this year and we're like, oh, well, back in the first year of Drink Dry, this happened.
Amazing.
So I only ever go back there in like the business sense when we're talking about the business. But personally, it was an incredibly challenging year. It was really challenging from the personal life aspect entirely. You know, I went from, my husband is a really successful businessman. When we met, we were both working, and then he had a 10-year-old son at that moment who lived with us, and his business, we lived in the UK, and his business was on this huge growing scale at that moment in time. And we made a decision that I was commuting to London. We lived 2 hours away.
Oh my gosh.
All the kind of the stars aligned, and we jointly made a decision that, you know, I'm going to leave my job, and I'm going to help him to look after his son and kind of be the person there for him. And we're going to have our own family, so it makes sense, which facilitated him to no end. You know, I think for about 5 to 7 years, my husband had no idea which bank we were in, which bank we had a mortgage with, or anything. He didn't have to worry about one
Everything
thing,
was
you know.
under
But
control.
it's what worked for our family, right?
Yeah.
So when we moved to Dubai in 2019, my stepson's grown up, living on his own in the marina. I've got these 2 young kids, and I'm a stay-at-home mom, kind of losing the plot a little bit, because how many times a week can you go and get your nails done? Because my kids, but this is reality, you know.
100%.
My kids are going to school, they're going to
And
nursery.
this is a city of hustle. Like, this is a city you want to do
Yeah,
things.
and you know, I've done the good wife thing. I've done it. My husband became really successful. He's built his business. You know, they've got about 100 employees around the world.
Amazing.
And he was super busy. We had a really comfortable life, but it worked for us from like the marriage perspective, the kind of the childcare perspective. It worked because I was their facilitator to everybody.
So of course you wanted to come along and throw a spanner.
Absolutely, you know,
everything's working so well.
you know, I was doing everything for our family, and when I had this idea, and actually my husband was very, very, very supportive, and he said, "Well,
Amazing.
absolutely, do it." You know, if he had known what it will become, I don't think you would have said that.
I would say probably not, especially as you've described, like
Yes.
everything was actually awesome. It's kind of like, why? But then there must have been something driving you.
The reason why
You know?
I did it. That's the you know, this is the ultimate. If you don't have a reason why as an entrepreneur, it's never going to work. And that reason why has got to be so deep inside your soul and your heart that is your. When things are really dark,
Yeah.
you go back to that place, you get inspiration, and you just come back up, you know. So it was challenging from a personal perspective. I started missing a lot of bedtimes. I stopped spending time with my husband because he was so used to us having a lot of time together, because I had this growing family, all the admin stuff that comes with the family, plus a growing business. I think I was 6 months pregnant when I launched the business.
Oh my gosh.
So I had my 3rd daughter in March last year on a Sunday. I went back to the office on Tuesday. And
Happy days.
you know, and these kind of, it's madness. Like, I would never advise that to anybody, and I wouldn't advise that to myself. But going back to your, and you know, the funny story with that is actually the employee number 2 who joined us last year. I think I interviewed him, let's say, on a Thursday.
Yeah.
Young guy, doesn't have kids, a bit clueless with like the whole pregnancy kid stuff. I interviewed him, and I was like out there, super pregnant, having a baby in 3 days. And then I had a baby, and I interviewed him the following week. And I could see the guy was looking at me like really confused.
Where did the baby go?
Because like, you still kind of have a belly, but you don't. You look pale, like you lost a lot of blood, but I can't say you look ill.
Are you okay?
Are you okay? You know, and he doesn't want to say anything. And I think and he got the job and he came on board. And I think
Amazing.
months after, he was like, I was so confused. He's like, at that second interview, I was like, do I say something? Do I not? Like, you know?
That's hilarious.
So there were a lot of personal challenges and sacrifices along the way. And I think I was incredibly fortunate that my husband and I, we always speak and we communicate with each other. We must have had arguments and disagreements, but we always
maybe
communicate
somewhere.
about it. And we always try to find solutions to it. I'm not shy to say that we had to bring in a family assistant because he wasn't going to take on any of the house admin stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't have the capacity
Oh, you
for
made it
it.
work. Right?
So there were a lot of personal challenges.
But it's like you said about the purpose, the reason why, that's kind of like your North Star.
Yeah.
Because once you're in, you are in,
Yeah.
right? Baby, no baby, not really feeling it today,
Yeah.
Especially at that time. Now you have a bit more support. But I mean, a lot of people might have maybe given up at that moment that you're describing. It doesn't sound that easy, to be honest. So, okay, yes, the purpose was there. Yes, the kind of commitment factor, some people are just more committed than others. But, as a journey, as a brand, as what you're giving, yes, you're giving this incredible platform. But like for yourself, what is this giving you? Is it you're proving to yourself that you can do it, or is it bigger than that?
So two things to that. I think from the business perspective, I really felt that we were the only ones who were hearing and speaking to the forgotten consumer, like I felt that forgotten consumer only a year and a half prior to that.
Yeah, totally.
And the feedback that we were getting back from the consumers that, just from physical feedback and commentary and stuff, but also seeing the business grow numerically.
Amazing.
We went month on month, we're increasing sales. We couldn't keep up with the demand, the usual kind of supply chain challenges, because we didn't see it coming. When we first launched in December 2020, we started with a stock holding that we felt we had 6 to 9 months stock holding.
Okay.
Probably less than 3 weeks in, we were air freighting goods from Europe at a huge loss,
Gosh.
because we got absolutely wiped out. The
That's
first
amazing.
2 weeks of January, we got completely wiped out. So this was incredibly encouraging, not from the self-gratification of I was right, but I felt that we were answering the need of so many people that weren't being heard.
Yeah.
And people have different stories, whether it's same as mine as family planning or health reasons or anything else. They weren't being heard. And that was incredibly encouraging to continue. But I think for me, my reason why I started the business was I have 3 little girls. My husband is older than me, super successful. And the one thing I did not want to happen is for my daughters to grow up in a household where I was younger, stay-at-home mom, kind of, what have I achieved in the last 20 years? Nothing to show for. And whereas their dad on the other side just went from place to place and grew. And so for me, I wanted to inspire them. And when we say to our kids, you have to be kind, you have to be generous, you have to be this, nothing is impossible. I think it's so much more powerful to just do it and let them see it.
Yes.
You don't even need to say to them, be generous. You just do it. You just be generous to somebody.
Yeah.
And when you say to them, nothing is impossible, train for a marathon. Let them see you train and do it and let them be at the finish line. That will sit with them for the rest of their life instead of you just badgering something, verbally to them. So for me, the business was, I felt like I was fighting for them. I was fighting for them to grow up and be inspired by the working mom who's achieved so much from nothing. And that was my North Star more than anything.
So that's your immediate, and especially we were all in COVID and all of the, it was so insular at that time, but you have a real community now.
We do.
Right? And something else I really want to touch on is that how you were saying when the money started to come, okay, I know and I feel the same, is that it's not about money coming in. It's not about the money. It's the fact that something is working, you're giving something super valuable. And actually money is like energy for a business.
Yeah.
Right? And this is something that doesn't get talked of very much. And it's a very important thing for entrepreneurship because you have so much responsibility as someone who is, a visionary, an innovator. It holds a huge amount of weight and you expect a lot of people to come on board with you to kind of go on this journey.
Yeah.
But seeing the money come in, that's a life force. That's an energy.
Yeah. I think for us, we are a product-based business. So cash flow is our forever problem, and most
of businesses,
it wasn't the money coming in as such. It was, we're fortunate because we have a B2C side of business, direct to consumer. So that is our lifeline as a business. We sell the product, we get paid. Done.
Amazing.
And then the big part of our business is hotels, restaurants, retailers, and let's leave the payments from them to a separate conversation. But that's something that the business is out there.
Yeah.
But the money isn't there. But if you're talking about that, if you're doing your planning, you're like, right, how does my stock holding look for the next 6 months? Because now I know I picked up this account and that's going to generate X number of, business. Now we are in this retailer and in June we've got a deal to go in with that, et cetera, et cetera. You see the size of the opportunity.
Yeah.
It allows you to allow yourself to plan. If you are stuck in a kind of like a hamster in the same wheel, I'm selling, I'm buying, but the same thing. I'm selling to you, buying from you. I've got 10 customers and I'm going in the same place, right? It doesn't allow you to think, well, who are my next 5 hires? Like, what do I need to make this like a core infrastructure in the business?
Yeah.
Once you see the business growing and your revenue, it's not so much about the money, it's about the revenue growing.
Yeah.
Then you can say, okay, I'm going to just spend a bit of a half a day and I'm going to say, okay, in this amazing dream world, my wish list would be to now bring in a sales manager and maybe an accounts person, maybe a marketing manager. What would that look like?
Yeah.
And then you find yourself that in 2 months' time, you go, damn, I can bring in that employee number 1, off we go. And then another 2 months, and then you bring in somebody else. And that's really encouraging. And that's, I think, when you start to begin to scale as a business, because I see a lot of startups where they kind of get stuck in that, and it's fear. It's fear entirely.
Completely.
That you can't see, what's the saying? You can't see the forest for the woods, or the other way around,
for
right?
the trees,
or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's like that, where you can't see past the next month and what does your revenue look like, and you keep being stuck in that small scale business mentality where you can't scale.
Look, it's one of these things. You get that inspirational moment, the idea. You kind of like get things moving, the first burst of energy. But what can also happen is, as you start to learn more about what you've actually got yourself into, a lot of fear and doubt can come up, because you can start to really second guess yourself. You can start to think, oh my gosh, maybe I didn't know all the things. And that commitment to actually learning is also something that I think a lot of people don't talk about enough. Or the expectation of themselves to know everything, which of course is completely not valid. None of us do. But, because this is all about making things happen, how have you had to learn? Like, what has the learning process been like? How difficult was that? And did you enjoy it?
Did I enjoy it?
Tell me the truth.
Yes, because I'll tell you one thing. I was really fortunate, I think, in regards to the industry and the category. I keep being told I shouldn't call it a category anymore. We need to call it an industry to kind of give it more weight, which is true.
Yeah.
Because the industry itself was forever growing.
Yeah.
There were no right or wrong answers. So,
Kind
as long
of
as
lucky, maybe.
which is amazing, because if you're going into the world of banking, finance, you have to learn things the right way.
Yeah.
And you can't just make things up or go with your gut feeling, or this is what I think, therefore let's see if it's right. In the growing category and industry, I felt like I could do that. So when I was speaking to the brand owners in the UK, and they'd have one opinion, maybe their distributor in UK had a different opinion, and I came up with a completely different opinion.
Oh, that's interesting.
None of us felt that we were wrong, or none of us felt that we didn't do something right. It was just
because it was so new.
It was so new, and nobody genuinely knew, and it was really opening, liberating to do that. I think. I think when I started, I genuinely suffered with a kind of imposter syndrome, because I felt like I took on this role of the face of the category, and we were bringing it in, and we were the leaders. And I just, I remember thinking, what leaders? Like, we're sitting in my house, in an office in my house, 3 of us, with a big Drink Dry logo at the back, so it looks better on Zoom calls with the brands in Europe. And, you sometimes think, well, we're not leaders. We're just trying to get going.
Yeah.
I think that was the bigger challenge than learning it, because if you're learning and you're not being beaten down by you're wrong or this isn't right, it's encouraging, right?
So how did you overcome the imposter syndrome? Because this is so common, by the way.
It's so common in women more so than anything.
Yeah.
Again, I look at my kids and I think there is no way I want them to ever suss out that I have it. So I have to just not show it. Like, I cannot, for the love of God, show them that I've got it. So that's rule number 1 for me. Number 2 is I look at my male counterparts. I sometimes sit on panel discussions on subjects where I'm no expert, but I'm learning.
Yeah.
And somebody with a much bigger title, a much bigger experience, a much bigger salary sitting next to me. And I think, he doesn't know what he's talking about, but look at him.
I
just
frequently
look at him.
Experience this.
Just look at him. He's just got it. And he genuinely thinks he's got it. So I think partly is fake it till you make it. And just tell yourself that this, it takes 21 days to form a habit, right?
Yeah.
It's a similar thing. You just do a lot of affirmations. You tell yourself you're not an imposter, that you know your stuff, that you can do it. And I think also for me, and I always said to the team, like, whenever a magazine or a newspaper wrote about us, nominated us for things, or we won things as a business.
Amazing.
I said, let's never lose sight of that. This is all great, but this is PR. This is not what the business is. We need it, but let's not lose sight of it, and let's not drown in that vanity. But I think at some point, I think it was earlier this year, I got few really exciting nominations and awards, me as Erika, as a leader of Drink Dry. And it would have been so easy to go, oh, no, not me. Oh, no, I'm so shy about this. Like, oh, I shouldn't have won this. But I just remember thinking, no, I should. I absolutely should have done that. And I think that was the first step where I thought, no, when people are sending me congratulation messages, I will go back and say, thank you so much. I feel this is really well deserved. I'm so happy we got recognized. Rather than say, oh, I have no idea how we did this,
Imposter syndrome broken.
Yes. And I think it's just by actively changing it. There's no, if you want something done, you've got to start the doing.
100%.
There's no other way to get something done if you don't do it.
Yeah. And just kind of stepping up and putting that leadership mindset on. And maybe forgiving yourself here and there for not being perfect.
Yeah, I have to.
Yeah, it doesn't reflect. It doesn't mean that you can't do it.
I have to. Yeah. I started running recently, and like my usual run is about 10 kilometers, and between 3 and 7 is like my golden era. And I tell you something, I have this conundrum in my head at the moment that I'm actually relying on my tomorrow morning's run to solve it in my head. I said it to the team, I was like, don't worry, I'm going for my run tomorrow.
Thinking time.
I'm like, I'm sure it will come, And in these moments, I get these like, we shouldn't have done that. Mm-hmm. Okay, or, we should have done that. And as soon as I come into the office, I'm like, guys, we shouldn't have done that. We shouldn't have done that, but we should do that next. And me saying we shouldn't have done that, and the team know it's not we did wrong or we made a mistake. It's just a great observation. We should not have done that. So next time the same opportunity comes forward, the decision will be so easy to make. Yeah. We're not going to do that, you know? So, yeah.
No, that's amazing. Look, you're in a huge growth opportunity. There are many places that I have been that don't have what you have on their menus.
Yes.
Many. So as much as those new doors that you're opening all the time, those new wholesale accounts and getting in, I mean, your growth potential is like exponential.
Yes.
How are you planning for this? And are you concerned someone else will crop up?
No, in terms of competition, I'm not. I think 2 things. Competition can lead to collaboration.
Yeah.
And I always say to the team, let's look to collaborate. Let's always look to collaborate with somebody. So, and competition makes you better. It just makes you stand up taller, get your act straighter, and just do things better.
Yeah.
I think we do still have the first movers advantage because, the gap is growing because nobody else is coming into our space in almost 2 years.
Amazing.
So we kind of managed to get.
Crazy
I
to
know.
think.
Nobody get ideas who's listening.
Yeah, exactly.
But we're quite far gone ahead of it.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you that it needs that the growth is insane.
No, it's just.
But it
insane.
also will take time. Like
Okay.
it's we're not at all going after organic growth. We are investing. We are overspending. We're not shy. We are very much focusing on growth versus profit. But I know that there's part of it where I just have to be a bit patient because Dubai, certain industries, they have what I call dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And if somebody's been in the job as an F&B director for 18 years, moved from one place to another, and has lived in this Dubai bubble for far too long,
Yes.
and they bugger off every Thursday, Tuesday, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 2:00 to play golf with their mates because they think that's part of networking, their mindset, and they think non-alcoholic is just nonsense. Their mindset will never change.
Yeah.
So we need to wait it out. We need to wait for a
gosh.
new leadership team to come in. We need to wait for new talent to come in through the doors of those particular hospitality groups, On the other side, you have groups like, we've just signed a contract with Rotana Hotels.
Amazing.
45 outlets, 19 hotels, where we are rolling out drink dry specific branded non-alcoholic menus. So not just a non-alcoholic beer, and just because you are a non-drinker, you have to drink a non-alcoholic beer. No. You've got a whole array and selection of 12 cocktails, wines, sparkling wines, different beers, craft beers, because you matter to those hospitality groups. They see you, they hear you as a consumer, and they want your money. Because all you're going to do is buy one drink and not come back or go somewhere else. They hear you, they see you, they know how to get your money, and put it in their till, and you're going to be happy about it because you're going to have an experience of it, right? So I think we already have some great examples where they are ahead and they're thinking and they're working with us and we're doing amazing things, but it's going to take a little time.
That's an interesting perspective, actually. The typical roadblocks of those monopolized leadership. I mean, that's a part of our culture in this city that we have to deal with in different industries. But yeah, actually, I hadn't seen that one coming because you'd think it would be so embraced. I mean, there's always been the mocktails, right? Which no one really ever looks at because it's not really the same proposition that you've been able to bring in.
You want the experience,
exactly.
You want the flavor, you want the taste, you want the same complexity. When you take a sip of something exciting, it should take you through the journey of different tastes on your palate. You want to taste sour, sweet, smoky, you want spiciness, you want bitterness, and you want to try it again. And whatever you are drinking needs to make you feel like you want more and you think that was really exciting. And it has to, if you're going to a fine dining restaurant, you cannot be drinking sugary Cokes and mojitos. It has to fit the bill. You want to have the same experience as whoever else on the next table is.
So acquisition, exit plan, IPO, like what's your down the track?
Look, I think I'm sure that there naturally is going to be an exit plan in some time. It was never a goal when I started. My nose would be growing like Pinocchio if I sat here and said, I completely saw it coming that in 2 years' time we'll have 14 people and revenue, and I didn't see it coming. So it kind of is surprising to us that the opportunity has been so big for us to uncover, and we're still uncovering it and unraveling it. But I'm sure there's an exit plan somewhere down the line for us.
I'm sure
one of the things I haven't touched on when you asked me the reasons why, my husband was really supportive and encouraging when I started the business, to the point where he kind of said, well, use our savings, if you really believe in this. I know. The guy is a saint, right?
Wow.
And I used all of it to the last, the account it had a big fat zero in it at one point.
Oh my gosh.
I completely drained the account, and all I had to show for that was but this huge opportunity, but I need more money. And, he's a businessman. He totally gets it. So we were fully aligned on that. So we were self-funded for a very long time. And then this year we did open our doors to an external investor.
Amazing.
Which just made things a lot easier for us. And we were able to go after that scalability and growth aspect.
Amazing.
But it was never a plan to open doors to investor. It was a lot more to do with, do their values match with ours?
Oh, yeah.
It's not about the money, because particularly in this part of the world, I feel like if you have a good idea, you have a proof of concept, and you have personality, if you can talk about your business, you have the confidence to find funding, it's not difficult.
No.
It really is not difficult, So it's about finding the right partners who get you and get your business. It is. It's like getting married. You need to date a little bit. You need to have a few little uncomfortable conversations, and then decide whether you're going down that aisle. I don't know. I think we it's not so much what the plan is in terms of exit. It's more, I'm trying to spend my energy on thinking, where are the areas of growth more than anything. Somebody wise told me recently that, as a business leader, you need to try to get your business to a point where 90% of it runs by itself. That you have capable people who you trust to run it. And then you need to focus your mind on 5% opportunity and 5% risk to make sure that 5% opportunity becomes a huge part of your business, and that you de-risk that 5% risk. That's where my energy needs to go to. Did we deliver the order in time? Did we get the payment in? That's not my responsibility. I have really good people in place who, they have the whip out and they're like getting it done. So I'm trying to focus on that. Amazing. Where is the growth for us as a business, And I think for us, it's the wider GCC. We launched in Kuwait earlier this year. We're going into Saudi Arabia. We're going into Qatar market. So that's the big opportunity.
So like when you say we're going into these markets, is there any kind of physical activation, pop-up, or is it just you're delivering now?
No. So for example, in Kuwait, we have our e-commerce platform up and running. So we have our stock, we have our fulfillment in place. So we're actually doing the same day delivery in Kuwait. We're having tastings, we work with influencers. I've done, a number of radio, TV appearances. We actively building the brand of Drink Dry. It's the same what we've done here, We're building the brand of Drink Dry, and we are inviting Kuwaiti, locals to enter the world of alcohol-free. And then we're offering them, there's a one-stop shop marketplace where you can buy all these things. Yeah. And we're experiencing the same challenges. The big players are getting annoyed with us because we're not opening our marketplace up to their soft drinks.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean when we're going into those markets.
Yeah. So interesting. Wow. When you reflect on these last couple of years, I'm sure it's been such a personal growth for you. I'm so pleased to hear that you're such an incredible mentor and inspiration for your daughters. But
thank you.
I think you are most probably for many people that you don't even know out there, a huge inspiration.
That would be amazing if that is the case, because
I'm sure it's the case.
I remember just before I started the business, I felt lost. I felt a little bit lost in life. I wanted these children and now I had them. I want this amazing husband and now I had them. I want this comfortable life and now I had it. Everything that I wanted was kind of there. And from anybody looking outside, they'd be like, well, what is your problem? You
100%,
have it all. Looking from outside, you have it all. But there was such a big piece that was missing, something that was
draining your account to zero was missing.
Yeah. I think that was a low point. That was a really low point for us.
No, but it's what it
I just thought,
I
hope a car doesn't break down, or I hope we don't have a massive leak in the house, something that we just need to recover and fix quickly. But I felt like something was just missing, something mine. And I just hope that if there's somebody out there who's listening and I think they just need that little push, I hope I'm the subliminal message to say, go do it. Just try, just do it. What's the worst that can happen? You'll fail, And if you are a bit smarter than I was, use somebody else's money. Get invested beforehand, Don't use your own money. De-risk it and just try to do it.
Give us your three drops, pardon the pun. 3 drops of advice from you for any young entrepreneur who is just wanting to start, but
do your research. Definitely do your research. I think a lot of the entrepreneur stories start with this fluffy, magical, unicorny story. But the reality is you need to do your research and know your market and know that there's a business out there for you to succeed in. I would say surround yourself with the people that benefit and add to your skill set. Don't try to replicate you in the business. I sit in so many meetings now within the team and I'm a fly on the wall. I'm listening to them and I'm in awe of these people. And I just come in and kind of summarize the next steps and I delegate the things. But I listen to people that I just couldn't do their job. I don't have the expertise, the knowledge. And that's how it works. Then you genuinely feel like as a business, you're covering the full 360, that everybody's pulling their weight. And I think the last one, on the financial side, I think make sure you have enough money to make it last longer than you think you need it. So if you are self-funding, good on you, but be prepared to run that account to the zero, because it's going to take longer than you think to recoup the money. Or find an investor. Make sure your financials are in order, because the worst thing I think that can happen is that your energy is being taken away from what you're trying to do, and instead staring at a minus bank balance or an Excel sheet that's showing you a negative balance. Like, these things just drain your energy, and you need that energy to keep going, keep pushing, So these would be my top 3.
Thank you so much for sharing these stories.
Thank you for listening and for asking all the right questions.
Well, I'm just speaking for a whole community out there, but it's such a pleasure to sit down and with people like yourself and just hear the backstory and also hear about the success. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.